Good evening, my fellow travelers on Spaceship Earth. It is I with Future Pop. And now I may have found something. I am trying to figure out if there's a way through this back end here to enable my camera. What is it trying to emulate? Why is it trying to emulate all those things? Why? Why me? Why? Throttling locations, shortcuts, no? Preferences. It's got to be here in preferences. Table tab moves focus. So somewhere I discovered that I could get into the debugger, right? If I can get into the debugger, my thought was, well, what if I could hard run it to run my cameras, right? So the problem we're having with good old Chrome here is that there's no header in the Chrome browser that's inside OBS. So you cannot go in and authorize it to use the OBS virtual camera. I'm wondering if I can, in here, because when it starts, you can see it crashes out already. Right? Get user camera mode primary, attempting to start camera audio and video separately, failed to start camera and audio and video attempt, not allowed error, permission denied, right? So it's giving me a denied permission, but I can't give it permission because you need to go into the permissions and set the permissions for it. The console is giving us a report on it, right? Looks like it's opening sockets. That's a thing. So these are all things I'm just kind of pondering if there's a way to fix it. But I'm not thinking there is easily. Hmm. I don't think I can do any of this. Oh well. I was trying. All right. Well, that's me trying. It is what it is. I see that I could not pull you into the playing around with the inner workings of Chrome. I had a thought today about my classroom stuff, which was it would be a whole lot easier if I had this set up in a different way. Right now, the way this is set up is I've got a folder for fine. I've got a folder for that's fair. You're like, we're not on speaking terms. Right now, we're not on speaking terms. So the way I've been doing this in the past has been to take the I've got a, it's not a folder. I'm not looking for the folder. To take the, there's a packet I've got, which is the entire, it's the entire packet of all of the classes. And the problem with it is that the entire set of classes is, why am I doing it this way? Why am I making this so hard? I don't need to make this hard. The way I'm doing it right now is I have class 1 as a packet, class 2 as a packet, and class 3 and 4, and all the classes are in one packet. In fact, the packet looks remarkably like this, which has all of my information, all of the stuff for each and every class, all of them. And it occurs to me that what I really should be building is by class, all of the things in the class. So take this and make it into class 1 and 2 only, because that's what I do in the same day. I'll do class 1 in the morning and class 2 in the afternoon. And so I have 4 packets that have all of the answer sheets for all of the quizzes for only those classes, and all of the answer sheets for, you know what I mean? Like, instead of having it the way I've got now, which is these 62 pieces of paper and 52 packets or whatever, break them all up and set them all apart so each class is individual. And then that way, all I have to do is go page 1 to page 2 to page 3. Oh, here's a test. Here's the test answers. Page 4 is then more whatevers. Here's another test. Here's more page, And that way I don't have to go through it like I've been doing. So I have screen captured the test or the things that the slides. I've screen captured them. But what I need to do is redo my rig so that it's only the beginning, only the end, stuff like that. Right. So that's what we're doing right now. All of my emergency whatevers. All these notes I took. Right? All right. So we are at the mercy of the Department of the Treasury and the Department of Motor Vehicles. So DMV has requested that we do specific things, like you have to put the data in, but you put all 4 numbers, because they're worried that in 1,000 years, they may have to go back to these documents and figure out whether it was 2024 or 3024. So it's critical that you put the 2000 on there. Critical. So right? It could be 1923. Anything could happen. This is another one of those things. We have to start at exactly 9 a.m. If we start at 9:01, we have to end the class at 12:36, not 12:35. Just like, oh man, it is brutally red tapey too. And I'm not good with red tape as a human. I am very, I don't know how I'm not a red tape sort of human being. You know what I mean? I'm just not. I prefer things that have a little bit of play to them, a little bit of looseness to it. Red tape just makes me get heartburn. I'm not good at it, for one. I never have been. The problem is, I'm very good at teaching. I'm very good at controlling the classroom. I'm very good at all of the other pieces. We were just talking about that today. I've never thrown a kid out of my class. I've been running this job for what, 5 years now? I've been running classrooms, and I cycle new kids every 4 days. Whole new sets of kids, and I've never thrown one out of the class. Never. I've only had to threaten once. In all that time, I've only threatened a kid once. And he straightened up pretty quick. And it's like one of those things. It's like there are other teachers in our school who have thrown out kids, regularly throw out a kid, It's almost like maybe an authority thing or a power thing. They toss a kid out on his ear just to scare the other kids or whatever. I don't even know. But we were talking about that today. That's just not, they're like, I always have all these problem kids. I'm like, you don't always have these problem kids. Maybe you're a problem teacher. I'm just saying. Anyway. All right. I'm trying to standardize the things that I do, right? First, attendance, then roll call. Then we've got to go into the timesheet. All right. Ooh. For me, I use their cell phones as sort of leverage. If you guys act and behave well, I'll give you breaks with your cell phone. If you check your cell phones all the time, I won't give you the breaks, sort of thing. Also, taking advice of a friend of mine who used to teach, and never give them the also, or never give them the if. Say, I'll give you your cell phones when we're at breaks, and you never say if you don't behave, then I'll take that away. You never say that part. Leave that out, but unspoken. So the diagnostic should take... Okay, empty the litter box. You do that. Welcome back. Man, I head and I cannot shake it. Oh my goodness. Hey, Mark. Eric. I don't know why I wanted to call you Mark for a minute. That was weird. Oh, well. Sure, it was critical. Yeah, right. I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm just, kind of hanging out here, being. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was at work today, and I have a sort of a lesson plan that I follow in class. And I was realizing my lesson plan is chaotic and not very stabilized. So I'm making a better lesson plan that won't be so chaotic and will be much, much better and cleaner and easier to understand. Looking back as this video made in, I don't know, it seems like it was probably 2005, but it's these teenagers, and each one of them has been in a horrible, horrible accident. And there's like four sets of these, and they were talking about what was going on in all these accidents. And it's the things that so one of the kids in there, she was really young and was driving along and had four kids in the back seat, one kid in the front seat, and she lost control of the car. The car went around a tree and ejected all the kids from the back seat, and they all were killed. And the way she talks about it, of course, is it's all, well, I mean, hey, I was a teenager, so, what did I know? I was too dumb to know the truth and the real, sort of thing. It was that kind of thing. And I'm like, man, it's the whole reason why some countries don't allow you to drive until you're 25. So one of those things that it's like, meh. So I like to talk about her specifically. I kind of harp on her a little bit because I'm like, really? Really? That was your plan all along? Get her? Yeah. $9.50 to $10.30, huh? A silent voice. I read so many manga I don't remember anymore. I never remember anymore. I used to remember a lot. It seems like it sounds familiar to me. Oh no, that's why. It's not that. It's voices of a different distant star. Never mind. I thought I had one here was that, but it's not. So, a silent voice. No, I've never read it now. Now that you mention it, no. Where did you find a silent voice? Oh, yeah. On Amazon? Gotcha. I really feel like it should be here. We should do the diagnostic. I'm just saying, really, before we teach them too much of anything. Not because I necessarily hate my kids. No, I mean, I'm just like, I should probably put that diagnostic test on the very, very, very beginning. Like, hi, how are you guys, kids? Great, that's awesome. Here, take this test. Like, right off the bat. Because the diagnostic test is supposed to show them what they think they know. And since I don't collect these tests, they're not part of any, I don't ever take them back in. It's only for them. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm doing driver's ed, which is fine. I mean, I actually really rather enjoy this job. That's what I was saying earlier today to the my administration staff. I was like, I really like this job. I enjoy everything except for the damn stupid, ridiculous paperwork. And that's it. Other than the ridiculous paperwork, I really rather enjoy it. I love being with the kids. Yeah, it's really cool. So I don't have any problem with it in general. I don't have any problem with it in specific. There's no reason to make this more complicated than it already is. Hey there, Can. Am I? Oh, I'm broadcasting. Okay. How you doing, Can? You're alive, you think? Well, if that changes, tell me. Afternoon late night streams. And Colton's in here too. Wow. Got lots of people joining us today. While I sit here and marvel over my own notes. What the heck was I talking about? This may be page 3. I'll have to see. Nope. Yeah. Stuff in there. You've been buried in work for both and farm. Mm-hmm. Well, if you want to join the stream, Colton, and join while you're doing your last little bit of work, that actually is probably going to be what the streams will be like later on, because that's what I'm going to be doing is homework at some point during the streams as well. So it's supposed to be that's what we're supposed to be doing. So you don't have to. I'm just saying, if you want to, I can hold your feet to the fire. Make yourself a new desk. Yeah, I'm thinking that whenever we start breaking stuff down here, I'm going to take these doors that became my desk originally, and I'm going to use them to make a new desk. So like this table, or this so I made my office has these great things all around. No, you don't have to join me. I figured that was where you were, Cam. Was that you were kind of still winding down. But I figure if Colton's doing work, You might as well join us. At least we can talk to each other while he's doing work. He doesn't have to share his screen, you know, so it's all good. I mean, he can if he wants, but he doesn't gotta. So. Right? You'll have to be our crafty person. Because I'll be over here writing stuff. At least right now I'm in Photoshop, so I don't feel so bad, but still kind of like, well. Coming out of it, not there. Coming out of this 1030. Right, that's where we should be in theory. So, start there. With putting it in, where'd you put it? Why'd you put it there? Why'd you name a girl Rear? Just saying, why'd you name a girl Rear? Okay. Yep. You know, so starting at 10:30. Kind of go through these guys right here. Then we will start the movie. $11. Maybe? I feel like I'm still spaced out way too much time here. So today, part of the reason I'm doing this is today my original class ended up going, I was way short on my time. So it's kind of like super short on my time. So now what I'm trying to do is space everything out so I can see where I am. I've got two things that have been happening to me. Oh, hey, that's kind of cool. Remarkably useful, actually. I'm thinking it might not be a bad idea to do something similar. So anyway, what I had today when I went through class was I ran too fast. I went through all my stories, went through everything that I had to say, all the things that needed to be said, and realized I was going way too fast. So I ended up ending class 1 15 minutes early, which is fine, except the DMV requires that they sit their butts in the chair until exactly 12:35. So we ended up with 15 minutes of dead air. I hated that. So I'm trying to time myself out so that we're good, so that I'm not running too fast, not too slow, staying on the same things we need to be. So this will be at 11:15. You start this part. Do I want to do that here? Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, that will work. All right. I feel like these are all the same kind of things. Median, shoulder, grade. I've noticed that when I go through my classes, I'll use the common terminology. Oh, C dot. Use that a lot. Dot. If you guys don't know who C dot is, can't help you. It's one of those things. Colorado Department of Transportation. But in driving school, I need to be able to tell them these things. Right? Man. All right. Could be, but not here in Colorado. Just saying. Not going to get very far with that one here. Oh, right here. Colton's here. How you doing, man? Oh, I don't have sound from you, I don't think, yet. I don't know if you can hear me, but I can't hear you. There we are. A little bit.
Took me a second to fix it.
Okay. That's good. Not alone, my friend. Dan saying he was trying to do, or he's starting to do some soul searching.
Yeah.
That's about right.
Who is? Kane's doing soul
Can.
searching?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel that one in my soul.
There we go. That's better.
Much better. I feel that one in my soul too.
Just what? Oh, I'm doing. Okay.
I'm just responding to Cam.
No, I know. I was reading it as well, and I was like, wait, what's he doing? And then finally, the last message kind of came through. So. Did you get a good profit off it, Brent?
Oh yeah, right. Brent joined the military.
That is true.
There's a whole bunch of selling the soul off right there somehow.
Just
saying.
You're not wrong.
I mean that in the nicest possible way.
But it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody I know that went to the military says the same thing. They sold their soul. Mm-hmm.
give it back to me after 2 weeks. It's too dark. Like, nope, never mind.
A composition.
All right. Thanks. Not being helpful. Talk about these three things. They're very important, I think, in everybody's life: survivorship bias, negativity bias, and availability bias.
A lot of biases.
Yeah, because I mean, like, the survivorship bias is one that hits us a lot, right? Hey, I used my cell phone and I texted somebody while driving and I didn't die. Ergo, I guess all those drivers instructors are lying to me about texting and driving being so dangerous. Survivorship bias, right? And so negativity bias is, hey, that's a snake. If I pick up the snake, it'll probably poison me, as opposed to assuming the best of it, right? Where it's just cute and whatever, and you like it. So you assume that it's going to poison you because that's probably a good safety feature, but it also affects people. Colton just said something that was ambiguous as to whether it was positive or negative. I will assume it's negative, and Colton hates me. I mean,
yes,
like, that seems
100%.
to be like totally like our nature, right? And that's a negativity bias. And then availability bias is just one of those. Colton has said 3 negative things to me and 1 million positive things to me in the last week. I will not remember the positive things. I will only remember the negative things. Colton is always negative towards me.
I'm a negative person.
Right? That's an availability bias, right? I tell the story every time that I was living in this apartment complex, and where it was located, there wasn't a lot of traffic on the road that was right there in front of the apartment complex, but it had a left arrow. And no matter what time I got to this light, I got stuck at the left arrow being red. And it was so annoying because there was no traffic. So you're just sitting in the middle of the street and there's nobody around you for miles. Well, maybe not miles, but it feels like it, right? You don't see any oncoming traffic. You're stopped for no traffic at all. And it always managed to catch me. No matter what happened, it always caught me. And it was always red, and it just drove me absolutely crazy. Well, one day I had an idea, and I put a sticky note on my dashboard, split down the middle with red and green written on it, and put a pin on there. So every time I went through the intersection, I marked whether it was red or green. At the end of like a month, I bet you can't guess. It was exactly 50-50.
It was blue.
Yeah, it was exactly 50-50. Hey, Hightower. How you guys doing? How you doing out there?
Sup.
So that was a fascinating thing to me, was that was availability bias writ large right there. Because the red lights annoyed me so badly, I didn't notice the green lights. I just forgot about all the green lights. Right? And another thing about the negativity bias, the statistics, right, we're in Colorado, in the middle of the United States. So we're running the night time. It's about 10:38 p.m. So it's going pretty good so far. I'm working on work, and Colton is working on work, and here we are. How are you doing out there, Hightower? The survivorship bias. I tell the kids, I'm like, so we want to talk about survivorship bias. You know how us Gen Xers say, man, when we were kids, our playground equipment was made out of razor blades and broken glass, and we survived.
Was it not?
And so you guys are all wimps. All of yours has got like padding and everything like that. And it's amazing because we lived through it and you didn't. And that's because the ones that didn't live through it are here to talk about it.
Yeah.
That's survivorship bias.
That makes sense. Actually,
surviving.
Yeah, you put it that way. That makes so much more sense now.
Yeah. Well, the example that I first heard that was the best example ever was the infamous airplane example, where in World War II they had planes that were coming back really shot up, and Boeing wanted to know what was the survivability of the Boeing planes, the B-17s that were coming back from being shot up. So they sent out these analyzation things for the mechanics and the hard stands, and the mechanics were supposed to indicate where these. Let's see if I can find this, because this is great. This is actually really kind of fun. Where these airplanes were getting hit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what I can do this here. If I can't find it, 'cause it's a great example of survivorship bias. I'm gonna be just looking through here real quick. Give me just a second. Yep.
1001.
Right. So this is what they got back, was this picture right here. Right.
Oh,
and
okay.
this indicates where the planes have been hit. So now Boeing gets this and says, okay, well, these are obviously areas that we should concentrate on fixing. And what's the error they're making?
Mm-hmm.
And the error is any plane that was hit in the engines or the cockpit or through this waste area right here fell out of the sky and never came home. So it was never marked. This is survivorship bias, right? These areas right here, when the plane's been struck in these areas, they fall out of the sky. They don't make it back home. So even though the engineers had marked all these areas, these were areas where planes had survived. These are the areas that were hit on the planes that came home. These are the areas that were not hit because the planes never made it home. And that's a great example of survivorship bias, right? So I love telling kids that when they're driving, because the whole point is don't get lax because you actually managed to survive doing something risky. You know, that doesn't mean that doing something risky it doesn't mean we're lying to you. You know, it's a survivorship bias. So I like to explain that to the kids, and the negativity bias and the availability bias.
Mm-hmm.
And that clears them out until they're at 12:30. And this is well, I hope you're surviving barely better than. There's no word really to surviving barely. I don't know what I'm heading for on that one. I think I'm just kind of
surviving with bears.
Surviving with bears. If you're surviving with bears, that's always a good thing. That's what I tell the kids whenever we get to. I explain what the rules are for a four-way stop. You know, rule 1, first in, first out. Rule 2, person to the right goes first, the person to the left yields, right? Rule 3, the more dangerous the maneuver, the more you have to yield. So if your car crosses a lane of traffic, that's a dangerous maneuver. So it must yield to the traffic that's already going in that lane. Ergo, if a car is going straight and you're making a left turn, you have to yield to the car going straight, right? So that's the way that kind of goes. If you're being dumb on the road, yeah. And then I'm like, the little graphic there then has all 4 cars coming to the intersection at the same time. And so then I go, okay, kids, what about this? And they all sit there and ponder it. I'm like, and so, sometimes I'll get the kid that goes, it's the car to the right. And I'm like, well, he's to the right, 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 and I show them that that's just going into a circle there. So I'm like, so what do you do? And they're like, And I'm like, okay, you have to write this down. This is very, very important. You get into the back of the car and you take the bears that are in your trunk. You put those bears in the intersection. Then the bears duke it out. Whichever bear wins is the person who goes first. And polar bears automatically win. I don't make up the rules. That's what I tell them. The kids are always like, oh, he's screwing with us. You can see it in their face. Like 1,
processing
2,
going
3, 4. Oh, he's messing with us.
I was sitting there going, all right, we took a turn somewhere. Where were we at?
Right? Oh man. Oh, come on. I have to get some kind of enjoyment out of these things. I was messing with one of the kids today because she kept pulling out her phone and messing with it. So I was like, are you taking my picture? You can take my picture. I'll smile. She's like, no, wasn't taking your picture. I'm like, well, why do you have your phone out? Oh, I get it. He's making a point that I should put my phone away. And that's what I'm doing. All right. She didn't appreciate that half as much, but you know what? You're not supposed to have your phone in the class. That's the whole reason I give you the little blue thing. Blue thing's a Faraday cage. You're supposed to put the thing in the blue thing. Your phone in the blue thing. So, all right. So this should be 12, 15, 35. All right. And that clears us out of this class. Class 1 is done.
Ooh.
So are we doing more thumbnails over there?
Yeah. I had to do 136 drawings this week. Like, they're all pencils and whatnot. Like, here, I'll show you. So, like, these ones, I'm at the last bit, which is just creating compositions with lines.
Mm-hmm.
But, so we had to do letters. So where you see the letters in pictures by famous artists. And then we had to do abstract versus literal lines, if you know what that means. So literal lines, just for everybody else, is like a direct line that you see in an image, like the spear,
right?
A wall, things like that. Where abstract lines are the lines that actually guide your eyes. It's like this guy's looking this way.
So you have to look where he's looking. Yep.
The shield, the way his body's positioned. The lines of the shadows are actually technically not literal lines. They're actually not meant. They're abstract lines. And then also like his shadow lines behind him that box in the frame. Things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had to do that. Like this one, literal lines. For this was literally the mountain. Like you can see.
That's a pretty picture.
Yeah, see, the literal lines is the mountains and all that. The abstract lines are literally like the moon circling around the point that you're wanting to look at. The clouds that are directing your view to that point. So that was the second half. And what's then we had to do 20 compositions with circles. There we go. 20 composition with circles, triangles, and squares.
Yikes.
So yeah.
That's wild.
But quick compositions. It's not going for perfection. It's just like, hey, knock this out in 5 seconds. Like
Sure.
each piece, they said, do not waste more than like a minute on a piece. If you're wasting a minute on just quick shapes and lines, you're not gonna pass this week. Which is why literally like I've knocked out all this at like 9:30 to now.
Sure.
And it's just coming up with like quick compositions, but also like coming up with like thinking of ideas that I've seen in my head and how can I reiterate, not even just in my head, but like even regular pictures I've seen. Can I recreate them just as lines in my head onto page? Because I know it's not going to come out the same.
Right.
And for this is just more of a study, so I'm not really like, it's more of a visual reference in my head that's not going anywhere. So
With you.
no one has replied to me for that. Okay, cool. There's a group I've kind of started getting involved with. It's a local Colorado game devs. I think that's what they're called. Wait, casual game dev, downtown devs is what they're called. Casual game developers, like indie developers mainly. I think some of them are actually in the industry, but most of them are all indie. Yeah. And they meet up like randomly on a Thursday to like talk shop with each other, show each other what games they've created, and then like play test them.
It's kind of cool.
There we go. And then randomly on certain Saturdays, they do a work and chill day, which is just hang out at a coffee shop and just work on stuff. That's all they do. So I randomly actually had a Saturday morning off because it's Saturday mornings. Sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah, it's a random Saturday morning. Whatever one that the person that hosts it can actually make it. Showed up there and it was literally like 4 or 5 of us just sitting on our computers just working, talking about things that we're working on and what we're learning, trying to accomplish this week or next week, you know?
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
It is cool.
It reminded me a little bit like Drink and Draw and all that again, like Perkins, where we just sat down and just worked.
I really miss those days.
Yeah, same. Because it was a spectrum of people too. It wasn't just like, hey, we're all comic book people, we're all nerds, blah blah. Like 2 people were there to like, one person's building a game engine, another person's learning how to do threading with cores.
Right.
Like coders, and then my buddy Eric I was with, he was building his own drawing program for the DS, the Nintendo DS. He has it pretty much working for the main part, but he's getting it to a point where it's actually, he has selections, it's pretty much, he's trying to build like a Photoshop or a clip studio for the DS, so it's on the go, small, light.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, he's a programmer / artist. That's how he's using his time. And then another guy I met, he's a mixture of artist / programmer. He didn't really get much done because he kind of showed up, said hi, wrote like 2 lines of code, and was like, "Oh shoot, I forgot. I got something I gotta do today," and then he left. Which I was like, that's fair. I get that. I understand that feeling where you show up, you're like, oh yeah, I have time. I do not actually.
And in fact, he did not have time.
And I was sitting there getting ready for the Harry Potter event. Harry Potter Baseball Rockies game.
Which I'm so sad I missed.
Me too. It was a lot of fun. I missed those events.
Yeah. I couldn't do it. I'm working now forever. And it actually may be that it will be difficult for me to join them ever again. We'll have to see.
That's fair.
We'll have to see how things boil out.
The only reason I was able to do it was because the person that put the thing together is technically my boss. So he was like, hey, you want a Saturday off to come work for me for this? And I was like, sure. Kind of got an in. It was cool. But hey.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, since I work at the hotel again.
Oh, so you're working.
I went back to bartending.
Tending bar. Well, it pays better.
Yeah. The benefits aren't as great, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not awesome, but yeah.
But pays better. My hours are better. I actually feel like I have time to do stuff again.
Weird.
But I can't really complain too much about that. So
yeah. I'm with you.
But yeah, it's awesome. I'm not gonna lie, I actually do enjoy it. So
I'm good. I'm glad to hear that. I mean,
I actually feel like I'm actually getting more schoolwork done, and I'm not like overworking myself now since I went back. And that's just like, I knew that was going to be a thing when I first started back up, because I'm like, I know how my old job was. It's very demanding of your time, and that's just because it's based off of what people shipped out that day and how soon did they want it, you know?
Yeah. I get that. I hear that too.
But now, since that company wants to implode itself, I'm here.
It's fair.
And we're doing better. But yeah, it's actually kind of cool where I get to just sit around now. I feel like today when I was at work, I completed one of my whole classes today while I was at work because we were that dead. It's Sunday, so Sunday, like, for a hotel specifically.
Sundays are pretty slow.
Sundays are slow. Everybody's checking out.
Yeah, makes sense.
Like, and then as people come in, which they usually don't start checking in until after like 3-4 o'clock, I'm standing around for like 2-3 hours. So it was actually funny. I was sitting there with one of our residents. He's like, I call him a resident because he lives like 6 months out of the year in our hotel.
Wow, really? That's kind of
interesting. He's a regular. He comes in and out for like pretty much 6 months, I would say. Like, he comes in and out all year long, but like lives there consecutively, I would say for about 6 months if you add it all together.
Fascinating. Never thought about that. I mean, I guess there must be somebody who does that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's a group of him and his colleagues, they all show up, but today he decided to come hang out with me at the bar. He's like, I'll take a drink. He had his laptop out, so I pulled out mine, and I was sitting there doing homework while he's drinking and doing his work, and we were having a good old conversation. It was great.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
It's like kind of what we're doing right now. It was kind of the same thing. It was fun.
That's fair.
Yeah, I had like to write like 9 like blurb posts and do a resume, and that one class I'm taking is a very creating resumes, cover letters, reference lists, writing a bio for yourself, learning how to do all that stuff. So when you go out into the world of art as an artist, you have it all set, ready to go.
Yep. I remember you starting that.
Yeah, it is a really cool class. So like I sat down and I was pretty much doing all that today while at work. Which in my head, I'm like, this is awesome. I'm getting paid to do school.
That's fair.
Quote unquote.
Right.
But yeah, it was cool.
That's nice. That's good to hear. So,
what are you working on?
Yeah, I'm listening to what you were saying about getting a job in the hotel because you know the people.
Yeah. Well, one, I know the people. Two, like,
it's a thing you can do.
Yeah.
You're qualified.
I'm qualified. I know how to talk to people.
No, come on. You friendly? No.
No.
Don't believe that.
Yeah, there's a girl that's been staying there for like a week, and I think she leaves Tuesday, and it was one of the other bartenders. She was laughing. She made a joke with her. She's like, "You should fight Colton for being too happy." And I was like, "I am not that happy," and like, "You're happier than most of us." I'm like, "Well, that's fair. I also just got out of a toxic work environment and came into an environment that's actually not as bad.
Right.
So I'm happy as hell. And also, I get to talk to my regulars. I'm happy. I'm good.
Yeah, works for me.
And so that's my coworker who she told that she needs to fight me because I'm too happy. She started laughing. She's like, yeah, it's fair. I was like, I actually like this job. This job is actually not bad. There's a few things I would change, but I have no control over those changes. So, hey, I'm just I'm just coming into work, making money, talking to customers, doing my thing.
Makes total sense to me.
Mm-hmm. And the perk, I get to sit around and do nothing some days if there is nothing to do. I finish all my tasks, I'm sitting there doing schoolwork. That was my agreement with my boss. When I first started, I was like, if I'm not busy and I have everything done, I'm doing schoolwork. He's like, I can't really argue that. I'm like, that I'm going to be literally standing here doing nothing on my phone. I'd rather be productive. He's like, yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're good.
Nice.
Did you ever find out more about your CU stuff or no?
I'm in the limbo stage. They said it'll take 4 to 6 weeks for them to think it through or whatever. All the paperwork is in. I have two letters of recommendation. One of them's from a PhD, who's a professor. So that also helps with the University of Oregon. So she's given me an endorsement, and then the head of Nandaskan, the con chair, gave me an endorsement. And so then I turned in my Westwood transcripts, which they couldn't use. You didn't hear the entertaining thing about this. So I went in there as a transfer student with my Westwood thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, CU then said, yeah, there's absolutely nothing we can use from your Westwood transcripts. In fact, we're sorry, but we have to assume you've never been to college before. So they ejected the Westwood transcripts wholesale and stuck me back into first year, which meant that I had to have a letter of recommendation and had to give them my high school transcripts. Well, I went to Jefferson County Open School, which had no grades. So my transcripts is a 35 or 40 page document where I self-evaluated my high school career. And I'm like, are you sure you want that? Because I know that a lot of open schoolers end up at CU. So they've got a very specific guy who does this because he's used to these. And I'm like, are you sure you want to go through this? Not only that, I graduated in 1992. I am nowhere near the same man I was at 17. You know what I mean? Right. There's a lot of turf under my feet from then to now. So it was kind of like, well, you know what? We'll deal with it. But the thing is, I didn't want to be in the first year pool, because if you're in the first year pool, then you're kind of in there with everybody else who's trying to get in.
No, on first years, and also like the age range and
right.
The maturity side is so drastic.
It really is. So I really wanted to go in as a transfer, but hey, I was willing to take this in. So then I went up there to talk to financial aid, because I wanted to make sure that if I had to take another student loan out or whatever, it wouldn't screw up my student loans from Westwood, because they're being neutralized, but they haven't been neutralized yet. So I don't want to take another student loan out and then them go, oh, good, we'll make all of these, take them out of their neutral status and put them back in active status, and you are now, responsible.
Those ones that we were getting ready to knock out? No, continue, please.
Yeah, let's continue this. So anyway, so I went up there to ask that. And while I was there, I just happened to walk over to the registrar's office and was just chatting with the guy there, because I actually took my friend up there to see if she wanted to go to college too, because I'm
I remember you told me that,
Yeah. So I took her up there and we were talking to him, and I was like, out of curiosity, do you happen to have me still in the system from the first time I was here? He was like, you were here before? I was like, yeah. He was like, do you happen to remember your student number? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's easy because back then we used our socials. So I could give you my student number. He typed it in and he was like, wow, you took a 1020 class. And I went, yeah. And he goes, that's second semester. That means you were here at CU for 2 semesters. You're a transfer student.
I was able to prove it.
And I was like, so wait a minute. My Westwood's completely kicked out, but the fact that I kind of screwed around at CU for 2 semesters puts me as a transfer. So I went back into transfer student again. That's very funny. It's like,
that's awesome.
So I'm transfer student, but I'm transfer student on my CU credits, not on my Westwood credits. Totally. But I didn't remember that. I mean, it was 1992. I don't remember. You know what I mean? I was like, But I was up there. I was up there in Boulder, and I knew I dropped out. But I thought I dropped out after the first semester. But apparently, I was there for 2 semesters. That makes it a full school year.
I did the math for mine too. I was like, oh, I did this for this long, and I was like, oh, actually, no, I was at Front Range for 1 whole year, and then I was at Community College of Denver for a whole year before I dropped out.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. I was actually like pleased because I ended up being back transfer student, but now everything is in. We just have to wait. The deadline is today for all of the documentation, but my documentation's all in, so I don't have to worry about it. Everything's clear. So, in fact, I checked on it compulsively over and over and over the last few days. I just checking compulsively to go, is it still clear? Am I still good? In fact, I'll check it compulsively now, just in case. Because I would hate to find out that at this moment, everything is like, well, you screwed this one thing up. Because I'm really counting on getting in on the spring semester, so starting in January. That's very, very important to me. So, enrollment dates and schedule comes up on 10/10. I hope I figure out whether. Wow, first day to reserve a course is 10/23. So I'll know whether I'm in or not in the next few days.
Hopefully.
I mean, I'm scheduled to go in for a spring semester. So, and they haven't changed that on my setup. So, since they haven't changed it to you're not coming in on spring semester, that means that they're still. Let's see if I can go in here for registration and see what it says on my registration set, because I don't have actually a buff portal yet, so I can't get in on my normal card yet because I don't have that information. Just have to remember where the heck I am on things. Oh, I have to turn in immunization forms. I haven't done that in a long time.
I still gotta find my cards. I don't remember that.
Right? That's what I was thinking. I'm like, God, when was the last time I was immunized? Like, about anything. I mean, other than COVID.
Well, that was the other thing, COVID too. I gotta remember where I put my cards. I don't remember where I went.
I have to figure out.
Another round.
Yes, yeah, that's not the right place. I must have gone to the wrong place because I'm at the office of the registrar. Admissions. I needed to click the admissions. All right, let's see what it's at.
Downfall is I know I'm losing steam and I only got 4 pictures left.
Yeah, well, it's 11:08, so I'm not going to stick on for too much longer.
Oh no, you're fine. It's my brain. I got to get these done before 12 anyways.
All right. Apply, submit additional materials. Application is complete and under review. You have completed your application. Monitor the status page for updates from the Office of Admissions. Okay. Your current term, spring 2024. So, hey, residency says resident. Good job. That's very important. Apparently, I guess people try to fake whether they actually are Colorado residents or not. I'm like, yeah, kind of been here since 09 now. And prior to 09, I was in Japan. And prior to being in Japan, I was here. All
Still
the way
resident.
to 1974. So, you know, it's
right.
Yeah, really. been in Colorado for a very, very long time. So
still got that residency.
Yep. I definitely. But it was really cool. They waived my application fee.
That's awesome.
That was pretty cool.
A lot of schools, application fees, yeah. A lot of schools are doing the waiving the initial price that you have to pay for when you set up for classes nowadays.
Oh. Yeah, I'm thinking because I was noticing there are a lot of scholarships that I can apply for, which will help because like there's a whole bunch of them for single parent, you know, living in Colorado with a family, yada, 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 all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it, you know, it's not gender related. There's a couple of them that were gender specific, like you have to be a single mom, and that doesn't fit me, but you know, but there's a lot of them that are not gender specific or non-traditional students, because I'm definitely non-traditional. Going back in 50 is a little long-toothed, you know, to be going back to college.
What? No.
Right? Majority of the people, man, I was there when I was there doing the tour. So did I tell you about this? I went to go get the tour on the campus.
I remember you telling me about like you got a tour. I don't remember everything about it.
Well, I was sitting there and they broke us up into little groups, and the tour guide, you know, is this young, I think she's a sophomore or whatever. So she's in her, you know, 20s, late teens, early 20s, whatever. And I don't know, they're all kids to me now. Like everybody's a kid. They're all so young. And I'm like, I don't remember them being this young last time I was here, you know, because the last time I was there, I was also 20. But now I'm like, you guys are all so damn young. Anyway, she's like sitting there, she's all cheery and everything. She's like, let's talk to all the students. What are you guys here for? What's your major? What's your thoughts? You know? And she went from one kid to the next kid, to the next kid, to the next kid. And then she went, okay, let's start the tour. And she just skipped me entirely. Like,
you're a parent.
The parents looked over at me and they just started cracking up. And I went, it's okay. I look like somebody's dad. I get it. And then she's like, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that. And she's like, what's your major? And I was like, PhD in cultural anthropology. And she's like, oh, like, not only do you know what your undergrad is, you know what your grad is. Like, yep, I'm totally here for the full run.
You're here you're well advanced than everybody else right now.
Right. I've already researched all of the scholarships I can sign up for. There is one thing I'm a little worried about. I totally qualify for the Pell Grant, but I discovered that the Pell Grant has a lifetime limit. And I'm hoping that I haven't exceeded it by already with Westwood.
No, that's what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Because I'm like, if you burn out that Pell Grant, that's something that's going to help a lot, and not being able to use that Pell Grant's going to suck.
Right.
So that's going to be unpleasant. However, I think I've got this pretty good. Like, I needed to turn in a letter of recommendation and a resume. That's what I needed to turn in to be a transfer. I've turned in my academic history explanation, a personal statement, my unofficial high school transcripts, 2 letters of recommendation, and a resume. I have overdone. I'm like just like throwing stuff at them. So it's pretty cool. I really don't want to mess this up. I've screwed it up twice. You know, so.
Would you? Oh, you're talking about school?
CU specifically.
That's fair.
Because I went there in 92 and then dropped out because I was an idiot. I was going to go back in 02 and then Westwood sniped me.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
And then that was a mistake too, because obviously that's ruined all kinds of stuff because of that. And so this is the third time I've gone back to CU and I'm like, I'm not leaving.
Third time's a charm.
Right? I'm sticking to this. We're going to go through this. We're going to finish this. We're going to do it the right way.
I mean, that's like my school as well. Like Academy of Art is actually the school I was looking at when I graduated high school.
Right.
And I chose not to do it because of how much money it was and because I would have had no support. I mean, funny thing about that is I still had no support even in college here, but I still had my family, my friends. If something went wrong, I could at least ask someone for help. And they were there within walking distance. Now, like, I still now that I've been at the school long enough now that I just realized that I should have just done it back in the day. I would have been somewhere completely different, sadly, but I just feel like I would have learned so much back then.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I feel. It's like so much of this. Wow, next week is even next weekend is still in the upper 20s Celsius for temperature.
Mm-hmm.
That's still freaking hot.
We're still looking at 80s for quite some time.
Yeah, it's not going down.
Also look at it this way though too. Like August was not a normal August.
Yeah,
usually we hit hundreds. We only hit hundreds twice, I think, in the whole summer.
Mm-hmm.
Like this fall might just be a really warm fall, which I'm not sure if I'm okay with, but I do like that it drops temperature a little bit at night. Like that's my favorite one to describe to people right now. They're like, so I hear it gets cold. I was like, always bring a hoodie around this time of year.
Yeah, you never know.
Like, what do you mean?
Although
it's like as soon as that sun goes down, you're gonna feel it. Like what?
You'll feel it. We're still considered a desert. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's still considered a mostly desert terrain out here. I mean, it's
people see the mountains and like all the pine trees. Like, no, it's fine.
Right.
I'm like, the mountains are the worst. They get cold quicker.
Yeah. But even out here on the flats, we're still a mile up.
Yeah.
So there's not that much atmosphere between us and space. Not as much as you get when you're down at sea level. People forget that all the time.
Right.
We're at altitude.
Mm-hmm.
Boulder's even higher. Arvada's even higher. We're 6,000 feet up here. Yeah. So, but I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So it's kind of cool. I'm hoping that in the next few days, because I noticed there's class selection coming up. And I'm hoping in the next few days I'll be able, because I'm going to have to talk to an advisor before class selection.
Mm-hmm.
Because I need to clap out of Japanese. They throw me in Japanese 1010 and I'll be teaching the class. So
yeah.
You're not going to, not only was that the class that I took back in 1992, but since then I've lived in Japan. So
and taught in Japan.
So I could probably just run that class. So that's probably not a good place to put me. Probably should be in Japanese 2010 or Japanese 2020.
No, especially because like the teacher's gonna look at you going, hey, "Do you want to do this for me?" I'm like, no, not really, but sure.
Yeah, if you're gonna pay me, I'm good.
Right. Pay me first, and maybe then we'll talk.
It would only take a second. The teacher, I would walk in and the teacher, and I'd say, "Was this?" Which is like the really short Ohio gozaimasu.
And they'd be like, wait, what?
Are you speaking slang? Are you slanging in Japanese, no less?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So that'd be funny. Not only do I speak in slang, but I have an accent.
And you have the accent too. He'd be like, wait a second.
That's an Ibaraki accent. How do you have an Ibaraki accent in Japanese? You know? Well, guess where I was? Guys, you don't know Waresville with all the other Hicks. So I picked up damn Hick language. Sound like Hick. That's all right. I'm good. That's fine. Yeah, but I'm hoping that I can skip through some of those. And I can clip out of a few others too. I'm sure I can clip out of biology and
that's what I was saying. Like when you first told me that, it's like you should be at least to like get out of like the main stuff if there's really trying to make you start all over.
If you're gonna make me start all over, I'm gonna clip out of some stuff. I know I can clear some things.
Right. But I mean, just off that one teacher's or administration, he's like, oh, that's a second semester class. Oh, you've already done this. I'm like, yeah, I have.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is like, that was totally it. I had forgotten. I thought I only did one semester and then dropped. I'd forgotten I did 2 semesters.
Right.
So I'm like, well, that saved me, because I didn't want to have to go back and be in the first year as well, the first year kids.
What?
And then have to go through all of the, I mean, it would have been fine.
It would have been, but it would be you pretty much doing what you're doing right now in the driving school with all the kids.
Yeah. It is cool to see that I've got my college and major established here. It says College of Arts and Sciences, Anthropology. That's me. I shall be an anthropologist. I find people fascinating. Like, why people? That makes me so interested. This is going to be the coolest thing, because I will be a doctor in that. Like, why do people do this? Well, let me tell you all these people who have looked into why people do this stuff. Like, I'll learn all this stuff. Cultural anthropology. That's just, I didn't even know it existed. And then I read it and I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. Like, studying how culture works right now. How are we interfacing with one another? What are we doing? Why are we doing this? Yeah. How people work. He loves it. Well, I probably should head off so I can go to bed. You should probably go to bed. Where are you on your pictures?
I am finishing up the last one right now.
Okay, well then I'll hold until you're done. I'll keep you company till the bitter end.
Here, I'll do this so you can...
Yeah, I only put this up here because I was typing in my password at CU, and I really didn't want to type that in open broadcast.
That's fair. I get that.
I was thinking that was probably a good idea. Just saying.
But I also got I got tomorrow off too, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be back online tomorrow morning if you want to join me.
Yeah. Well, the way I got it tomorrow off was my coworker was like, I need this day off. I'm like, cool, what day are you going to offer? Like, Monday? And I was like, cool, I'll go into work and get another day off. Cool, I'm in. Just like, damn it.
Yeah, if you want to join me tomorrow, I think I'm going to take a break from the scanning and picture taking that I've been doing.
You were doing a lot of those last time I was on with you, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I can't take it with me. So if I don't take a picture of it, it just gets thrown away sight unseen. So I'd rather take pictures of everything. So I'm going to take a picture of everything, and then we can move on.
Save a copy. PSD JPEG.
PNG. I actually am really liking PNG. I used to not like that format at all, and now I'm actually kind of warming up to it. It used to be really lossy a long time ago.
Lossy?
Lossy. Like if you tried to copy it many times, the 4th or 5th time you copied it from one place to another, it would just be a whole bunch of squares.
That makes sense. All right. Very quick. I'm going to post this. And we'll be done for the night.
I didn't see.
Upload.
I just now noticed that people are Oh man, Jake's pictures from the
Jake
event.
I told him, was like, dude, you should take those and sell them to tattoo artists.
Yeah,
as a spreadsheet. And he was like, that is a good idea. And I was like, that's exactly what you just did, was the spreadsheet for tattoo artists.
Some of these are incredible. Like I love your work, man.
Thank you. The reason why it was starting to go chibi there for a minute was because we had a reference. Jason printed off a retro sheets. He was sitting next to me, and they had the Funko Pop like design on them. So like I started off drawing like normal. I was like, okay, we're drawing good. We're going fast. We're doing this right. Yeah. And then by like the end of it, I was going into that mode. I was like, everything's starting to look like chibi and Funko Poppy because that was my reference. And after like 40 pictures, you start like kind of converting to what you're looking at. It definitely started getting to me, but I'm glad I finished. I am so glad I went there. It was so much fun. Oh, that's what I need to upload. Where'd it go? 3.0. There we go. And that's going. Computer. That's a big file. I didn't realize this file's that big. Damn.
Wow. My sister just invited me into a family genealogy thing.
Nice.
One of the lines of genealogy in our family somewhere down the road.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool.
That's awesome. That's my mom's thing. She loves doing all that stuff. I let her. I'm like, yep, it's all you. Have fun.
Yeah.
All right. Squares. Where is the triangle? And circle. Triangle. Circle.
And just like everybody else, they misspelled my sister's name.
Line composition. I think that's all of it. Let's see. Letters, lines, squares, triangles. Awesome. Everything's up. Send. Post. Loading. Okay, we're loading now. Oh.
Oh?
Line is done. Ah, damn it. Choose 3 examples of well-composed concept art. Discuss how each artist is using line to direct the eye. Okay. Well, I'm on an adventure to go find some concept art. That's fine. I'll figure it out. What's that one guy's name? He does good concept art. YouTube. Have your channel. What's your channel? Ever his name?
Yeah. More family that it looks like fought in Civil War. That's about right. Nice. My whole family was on the wrong side of Mason-Dixon line.
All got sent to war.
I actually have one person who started out on the Confederate side And then we found him on the Union side. We were like, the heck's he doing on there? And he had a really unique name. So it was like, it's not like it was, Joe Smith, where you'd be like, well, that might be two different Joe Smiths. He had this really, really interesting, unique name, and I can't remember what it was. But we finally tracked it down, and what we found out was that sometimes the Union would take over a battalion, and they wouldn't kill everybody in the battalion. So they'd offer the battalion members of the Confederate battalion to join the Union, and then they would give them jobs that wouldn't have them have guns. So like loading cannonballs or stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, and if they were willing to do that, then they'd give them amnesty. And so that's apparently what happened with this particular family member. But it was so weird to find him on the Confederate rolls, then find him on the Union rolls. It was just so weird. It's like, what?
It is interesting.
And that was like one of those, The admin approved my request to join because I belong to all of these people in the family.
Yeah.
There's somebody named Andrew Jackson in my family tree. I don't think that's there's two Andrew Jacksons there. I don't think that's the same Andrew Jackson that was the president. No, they're too young. They would have been. I see what happens here.
What's that game stuff? Thunderfall.
All right, it's 11:30.
Yeah.
We should probably bail.
Yeah, probably. I appreciate you letting me in. You do what, 9 o'clock in the morning or 10?
Yeah, 9. I'm doing every 12 hours now. So it's 9 in the morning to 11 and 9 at night to 11.
Okay. That works.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's not that difficult. So I can clear all of these out while we're at it, and then I'll just run the end credits here in just a second. I'm saving everything. I did this stuff, and I'm like, I'm going to just fix this stuff and save it. I'll reprint these tomorrow. And I don't have to mess with it today. All right. Thank you for joining me, my friend. I always appreciate it. It's good to see you here. I will see you tomorrow, perhaps, or maybe not. You might sleep through it. Who knows?
Most likely, we'll see. I got some groceries I got to go get done in school, so we'll see where we go.
Yeah, but you're always welcome. You know how that goes.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Cool. I will see you later then. And for everybody else, keep your eyes on the stars. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.
Take care.